And I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Hey, everyone, and welcome to today's Builder Demo live stream. I'm Leonie from the marketing team here at Enso, and yeah, I'm super excited you're here because we've got a really special session lined up today with our friends from Etherfi. Our two guests today are Slater from Etherfi, who leads marketing there, and we have Nenad from the Enso side, developer relations. I think you know him from the previous sessions. But Slater is a new face today, so welcome.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, excited to show off this functionality a little bit and talk about the integration. Do you want me to share the link from our side as well?
I think we can first do some intros for each guest, for each project, and then we can head into the demo. So for all our viewers, we're going to talk about what Etherfi and Enso are building. We have a collaboration on cross-chain deposits into Etherfi's liquid vaults. And yeah, as I said, we're going to show a live walkthrough of the features, so stay tuned for that. And as usual, we wrap up with questions. So just drop them in the chat below, either on Discord or on Twitter, on X, under our live stream. Nico, who's behind the scenes, he will get them and let us know at the end so we can answer all your questions. So yeah, I'd say let's do a quick round of intros. As I said, I'm Leonie from the marketing side here at Enso. Yeah, Slater, you want to go ahead? For anyone tuning in who hasn't heard of Etherfi yet, I don't think there are many. Most people probably have heard of
It
Etherfi,
happens.
but how would you describe it in simple terms? Just that we're all on the same page, basically.
Yeah, for sure. So Etherfi started off as a restaking protocol. It was actually a hedge fund before that. There's a bit of a fun backstory there, but evolved into one of the leading restaking protocols and kind of won that battle with, I think, some pretty rigorous execution just across BD, and then we kind of didn't stop there. Like a lot of DeFi protocols would stop there, but I think the team always had this bigger vision of creating this kind of DeFi bank platform that can serve a lot of user needs in their day-to-day lives. And so we then created what we call liquid vaults, and these deliver higher yields for users that want to take on a little bit higher of a risk and reward profile compared to just staking. And then most recently, we launched our cash product, which allows you to access spending power from your crypto in real life. You can borrow against your crypto or spend it in real life. So we'll kind of go through all that stuff. But yeah, I'm Slater. I'm the head of marketing at Etherfi. I started here about 3 months ago. I've been at DeFi for like 7 years. And yeah, super excited to talk about all the stuff we're doing here.
Oh, really cool. So quite new at Etherfi, I hear, with 3 months. But yeah, great to have
Yeah,
you here.
yeah. I'd known the guys for a while, but yeah, I only joined pretty recently.
Very cool. Yeah, I think it's super interesting how you're going from like restaking, what kind of was the first project, over the liquid vaults to now so much more to basically a fully comprehensive product suite. I think that's super cool to see because there's so much talk about mainstream adoption and making crypto more usable. So I think it's always exciting to see projects actually going that way and making the right steps. But yeah,
Yeah,
Nina,
for
let's
sure.
flip it over to you. Can you give us an intro to Enso and what shortcuts are? Maybe a quick explainer for everyone who doesn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, hi Slater. Hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. So let me just give you a packed sentence. So Enso is a cross-chain infrastructure layer that powers DeFi shortcuts. Like there's a lot of stuff in there. So let me start with shortcuts. When we say shortcuts, we actually mean one integration practically through an SDK or an API that allows builders to basically package a whole sequence of DeFi actions like depositing, bridging, swapping, all that kind of stuff to implement a more complex, let's say, strategy and put it in one single transaction that finds the optimal path from your starting token to your ending token in real time. This is actually like it solves user experience, of course, but the builder focus there is the most important. So instead of writing all of this stuff manually, interacting with smart contracts, you're actually using an API that lets builders compose these flows far more simply. And since we're just getting started, I'm going to stop right there. I'm pretty sure we'll have more opportunities to go into detail as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. We can dig a little deeper later, also after we've seen the integration. I think that makes it pretty clear why we have Etherfi on, who's kind of for the end user, and also Enso, who's for the developers project, such as Etherfi, and basically making the building experience much easier and faster. I think it's also always interesting to mention the history of Enso, that basically there was this idea of building a DeFi super app. And the team actually had this issue themselves of like building in Web3, building on chain, how complicated it is. And if you want to integrate with multiple different protocols such as DEXs, bridges, and so on, it's just you spend so much time engineering and resources, audit costs, and so on. So basically the team found a solution to their own problem and is now offering that solution to builders. I think that always is a nice anecdote there. All right. Yeah, I think let's get into the collaboration and the partnership we have together. So one of the exciting things that Etherfi has are the liquid vaults. As I mentioned, that's kind of where the partnership comes in. If I'm not mistaken, it's kind of automated DeFi strategies where users can deposit and earn yield. Can you explain a little bit more how it works? Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure. So we were kind of one of the early adopters to this, I guess what's kind of become a meta of using curation and vault managers and risk managers in DeFi to deliver a little bit more of a sophisticated product than things just like staking or lending single-sided assets. And this has become really popular with like the beta infrastructure and other vault providers, as well as like popular risk managers like MEV and RE7, et cetera. And they become more popular just because they offer higher yields, right? But you still have a sense that like somebody is in control of this and making wise decisions and doing smart things with my capital and making me more money. And so we wanted to offer that as kind of a second solution if you want to move beyond just staking and earn a little bit of a higher yield profile, and you're comfortable with the managers of the vaults, et cetera. And so liquid vaults are an example of that, and they tend to deliver much higher yields and also can work with a number of different assets. So we have liquid BTC, liquid ETH, and liquid USD. And then most recently, we're actually working on the launch of a liquid hype yield vault right now. So that should be out pretty soon. We just launched the LST for hype, and that's usually kind of the 1-2 punch that we do, right? Like we'll launch the staking asset, then a little bit more of a sophisticated strategy on top of that where you can earn.
Wait, is that one already live? Sorry for interrupting. Yeah. The liquid hype vault. I think I just checked the UI before, but that's something different.
That is the pre-deposit vault. But yeah, now we're gonna have like the actual live liquid hype vault.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a good intro into what the liquid vaults are, and I think especially since crypto and Web3 is permissionless, you have a wide variety of users, right? You have super experienced people who might want to do their own strategies, but you also have a lot of like non-technical users who might be new to the space, and I think especially for them it's good if they can just deposit, earn some yield, and there's a strategy underlying. So yeah, definitely a good product and fit there.
Thanks. Yeah, I like to think of it almost like TradFi, right? Like, I mean, I think it's great that DeFi has a lot of sophisticated users that want to own their own decision making and strategies. It's super cool. But also, like, if we want to scale, like, not every person manages their own ETFs, right? It makes sense to have at least some distribution of responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. Makes total sense. I would also be curious, do you think there's like an overlap there? You mentioned Etherfi, the team was previously in hedge funds. Do you think that's maybe also why the idea came up? And do you manage the strategies, or are there external providers who might be helping out with that?
Yeah, so it's a team effort. There's 3 parties that are involved. There's the vault manager, and then the curator and risk manager, and then we just kind of provide the access point for the user. And obviously we collaborate with those outside parties, but it's important to us that it's not just like this centralized product that we're offering, and there is a distribution of responsibilities throughout the kind of whatever you want to call it, product stack. yeah, that's kind of how it works. And we did. I think it's fair to say there's probably some inspiration from us running a fund before. It was really mostly Mike that was doing that prior to this, but I think everybody on our team is builders at heart, right? Like we like to grow, we like to focus on growth and building a business more so than just managing strategies all day. Of course, we have opinions on all that stuff, but we try to give that to the people who do that for their full-time job.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. You guys also have a wide variety of products, right? And liquid vaults are just one of them. So it makes sense that there's the builder mentality behind it. Yeah, Nenad, maybe you can share a little bit more about what Enso actually provides in those liquid vaults, where the cross-chain deposit of Enso is enabled.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Enso is pretty much there to make things simpler. We started with simplifying interactions with blockchain for developers, and by design, the routes that we're building and the direction we're moving in is actually bringing smoother user experience, which is especially important for that segment of users that are not as experienced as we mentioned them just a moment ago. And this means, like, if I'm a sub-average DeFi user, average DeFi users are probably super skilled. So if I'm just starting out, and if I see all these concepts, okay, swapping, I understand, bridging, I understand, and there's depositing, and like a couple more things that I need to do along the way. For somebody who's starting out, it's high likelihood they would say, okay, this is too complicated. So simplification of that process that a human being has to go through in order to deposit something, for example, in a liquid high vault, that is the problem that needs to be solved. It needs to be simplified, and so shortcuts, spoiler alert, are a part of that solution. So as I mentioned, you can pretty much in a very simple route specify, okay, this is my starting chain and my starting asset, and I want to end up in that chain and in that vault. And everything in between sort of happens magically. It's not magic, it's engineering, actually, that optimizes the path, finds the best places to swap, finds the best rates, and handles all the bridging. And here I also have to give a big shout out to Layer 0 and Stargate, because this whole bridging dance couldn't be possible without them. So we have three pieces of tech working in unison to make that user experience much smoother, and ultimately to make the adoption somewhat closer to reality.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned it. A shout out here to Layer 0 and Stargate for their great bridging capabilities. I think we've been talking a lot about what that product is. I think it's time to show it in action. Do you want to share screen and walk us through, Slater?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and just to reiterate some of the things Nod was talking about. We're always super focused on shipping tons of new features at Etherfi, but we try to simultaneously be focused on making that user experience much better, right? And I think, like you described, like, I mean, staking, especially as the product suite evolves, right? Like we started off with staking, and I mean, almost every crypto user understands staking, but still, if you're like crypto adjacent and not really in crypto, you don't fully understand staking in most cases. Like, what do you mean you give assets to people and they give you yield for what? Like, but a liquid vault kind of moves farther down the curve, right? It's like, okay, well, this is a vault I put assets in and people manage it and give me yield. Okay, like that's something I can do in my normal TradFi life. Like that makes sense to me. And then we have the cash card product, which is super understandable, right? It's like, oh, now this is a credit card where I get high cash back. I just use an email and one-time password to sign in, and I earn rewards on the assets that I'm holding in the vault. Like, okay, this is pretty familiar to me. So as we move down that stack and like widen that audience, it's important that we also have tools to like make the depositing process simpler. So we're super excited about this. And so this is our liquid asset page. I have my wallet connected already. And basically, before you'd only be able to deposit ETH on a certain network, and now you can just click more assets, and all of a sudden it'll load pretty much everything that's in your wallet. And so you could literally take any of these assets. There's hundreds, thousands of them on any network that you have them on. Right now, I just have assets in this test wallet on Ethereum, and so I'm going to use Etherfi, our governance token, for the example here. But yeah, pretty cool. You can just choose whatever you want. We're going to use all 9 of my Etherfi. Typically, I wouldn't be a seller, but for the demo, I'll sell 9 of them. Okay.
Just for demo purposes today,
Yeah,
it's fine.
just for the demo. We'll let that approve quickly. Ethereum is actually pretty fast these days. Maybe I could have chose a better L2 in general, but I did this last night, and I think it loaded in only 5 or 10 seconds or so. There we go. Boom. Success. And now we're going to actually do the swap. If you are a user, use L2s. It makes way more sense. Do as I say, not as I do. Cool. That'll be in there in just a second. And then I wanted to actually show how you can then deposit those assets into cash. So this is a test cash account. If you're not already familiar with cash, it's a crypto credit card that allows you to add a balance into your vault. So this could be any of your liquid assets and stable coins, ETH, Bitcoin, or your stake assets. And you just add funds to your vault. You issue a card that you can use in Apple Pay, or a physical card that you can use in real life. And there's no fees to get the card. There's almost no fees in the entire platform. No fees to get a metal card, no fees to do transactions. We cover all the gas. So it really does feel like it's just like a real life wallet that you have. And yeah, you're able to add your crypto to it and then just immediately access spending power in real life. So wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to go from whatever it was, ETH5, if you have another asset, ETH, Bitcoin, whatever, swap that into liquid vaults. Now you're earning the highest rewards possible. And now, right from there, you can go ahead and take that asset and deposit it into your vault. And just like that, we've gone from any random asset on the EVM into the liquid vault, into your cash vault, which allows you to spend it in real life in under 5 minutes. A pretty cool set of features from random asset to real world spending power in just a few clicks in a few minutes.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting to see since when did you guys launch the card? I think that's just been super recently, right? So I haven't seen that cash part yet, but it's really interesting to see. And am I getting it right? You deposit into the liquid vaults and you can spend right from the card out of the vault. So you basically earn yield until you spend.
That's right. You do earn rewards until that very moment. And you could even turn it into borrow mode. So you can pick your preference. You can either leave it in direct pay, which just debits a balance from your account with every transaction, or you can switch it into borrow mode, which kind of works like an Aave account in your pocket, right? Where you have a combination of ETH, Bitcoin, USDC, and liquid vaults earning rewards. And maybe you have a blended LTV of like 60 or 70% maximum. And so if you have $100,000 in your portfolio, you could just go spend 60 or 70 grand in real life and not have to sell and worry about all the kind of tax implications depending on your jurisdiction. Of course, consultant accountant, not financial advice. But yeah, there's some really interesting features that become possible with that. And again, it's like a pretty much completely no fee platform. It actually launched about 3 months ago now, and we're already the leading DeFi card program. And so yeah, just kind of increasing the user experience. And that's by a pretty wide margin. I think we're as much as the rest combined already, which is pretty cool. And we added like 10,000 users last week. But yeah, making the liquid vaults a lot easier to use for people as like this audience gets bigger and bigger is a super important part of that. So super happy we've got this integration done to make it easier for users.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to iterate there. It looked so easy right now because of the widget. If you think about it, what steps you would need to take previously, imagine you have maybe like USDC on ETH, Ethereum mainnet, and you want to go to another chain and you need the other asset, you would need to go to like a bridging provider, then to a DEX interface. Maybe if you hold USDC on Ethereum mainnet, you would swap first, bridge, then swap again, then go deposit. So that would be like 3 to 4 steps minimum, which is now 1 step. So I think that really is a benefit in UX, and even with the whole card and cash part around it, I mean, that's definitely a big step up as well.
Thanks. Yeah, and I gotta say too, I'm really impressed with how fast it is, even on Ethereum mainnet. Like, I mean, I've done that 5-step bridging process so many times. You do the approval, do the first bridge, then you get to another chain, and you don't even have gas on that chain, and then you have to go to small refuel and like turn some of your asset into gas, and then bridge that again. And I mean, that whole process can take like 10, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how good your wallet UX is for that. And I mean, the fact that it not only removes all those steps, but also does it in like the same time. When I first used it, I figured you would have to wait for each of those like individual bridges to confirm in the middle, and it would still take a little while, but at least it would be automated. But no, it's literally like as fast as you're making a swap all the way from the source to the destination. So really great experience.
That's kind of the magic of shortcuts. You combine the actions together and get actually one executable transaction. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, as you mentioned, gas puts another layer of complexity on top for the normal DeFi user. So it can get tricky, and that really improves it. So yeah, I think we've all seen it's like a good step up when it comes to UX. Maybe Ninat, you can share a little bit more about if there are any builders watching and they have a dApp and they want to allow deposits. How does it work to integrate Enso?
Yes, absolutely. So first, let me just share my screen here real quick. So I will just you can see the docs right now, right?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so actually, it's one of the templates or the widgets that we have among a bunch that we did. So this is the cross-chain widget that builders can simply integrate in their apps. So it's as simple as installing the widget and then theming a little bit. So adding a different theme configuration, filling out some parameters, and this is pretty much the coding that you would need to do in order to get a widget like this. So that's one direct way how to use Enso, how to integrate Enso, and if you want to, you can also just try it out. So it's an app here. I'm on Ethereum mainnet, and yeah, let's just stick with Ethereum, and let's go to a curve vault over here. So if I say 0.1, and we wait a little bit, well, you will see pretty much a similar thing. So there's a route, there's also a visualization for it, and this is like the most straightforward way to test out routes, to test out before integrating, and then, as I said, integration goes fairly easily. And now for builders, if you want something custom, and probably you do, so there's this. There are 2 ways you can integrate Enso. One of them is through the API. So it's a REST API, and here you can actually see a very simple call that routes from an input token to an output token, and gives that kind of route, or maybe something even more complex. But there's also, and this works for majority of things people need, up until the point when you want to harvest or collect rewards or do something very specific where you control the swaps. Then you can actually give low-level instructions to Enso. So not just I'm starting here, I want to get there. You can also go and give a more detailed instructions. Actually, let me show this example over here. So this is routing, this is bridging, and let's check out this one. So here you would give really low-level instructions. Hey, I want to harvest from the gauge, I want to route, I want to deposit back to curve. So you see the pattern right over here. So you're getting a little more detailed and explicit, but you have a custom design of that process for users. And now this isn't only to say that it's improving the user experience, it's also giving builders a much more powerful language for expressing these kinds of workflows, where you can see that in this case there's pretty much no interaction with Solidity. And of course, a very, very important thing is that both the simple route that takes you from a token A to token B works in cross-chain mode. So this is enough to get a token from one chain to another with all the necessary swaps and maybe even deposits and stuff like that. And of course, when we're doing bundles, that's also possible. So there's the again Stargate that we mentioned exposed here, so you can bridge your tokens, and then after they're bridged, you can execute a couple of actions as callbacks to that bridging. So that's what I wanted to show. Now, I don't know if there's anything important left to say. Maybe if you guys feel like something is missing.
No, I think that was pretty comprehensive and went a bit more in depth for maybe more technical people. I think just overall, it's just for people to understand, like you can access just the Enso API and you get access to over 200 plus protocols that you can then combine in the code as you have seen and do deposits, do different actions. So I think that's really powerful. And we've got messages of people who really cut their workflow from weeks and months to basically days, because you don't have to do all those integrations. You just plug in and you have the access to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a very important point that one simple integration actually gives you access to all the protocol Enso currently supports. And as we add more protocols, those become available for the routes. And same goes with tokens. As soon as we support new tokens, they're available in your backends and frontends to interact with.
I think I've been cutting out. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just missed that last part, but I think I'm back now. So yeah, thanks for that intro, for that overview of Enso and how you can integrate with it. I mean, we're already at the half-hour mark, so maybe we can just give a quick vision, like future vision from both sides, from Enso and Etherfi, and then we can head into the Q&A. You want to go first, Slater?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll try to be pretty quick because I think I already went over a good amount of it in the earlier part, but the kind of overarching view of it is that we're trying to build the DeFi bank, right? And we made a long blog post about this. If you're not kind of familiar with the narrative, please feel free to go back and read that. It's a long post about building the first $1 billion ARR DeFi protocol. And we really believe that the path to doing that is just offering strictly better terms and user experiences for kind of the same things that users already do in their day-to-day financial lives, right? So this could be invest in certain assets. This could be attempt to earn yield. And this could be spend in real life and have a more convenient user experience that is more rewarding than what you could access in TradFi, rather than more kind of integrated in the rest of your financial experience. And we really believe that DeFi is at a point where the tools are there to accomplish this in a way that we can meaningfully outcompete TradFi. And I think we've already accomplished that with the card, but the goal is just to keep building on that, become one of the biggest card programs in the world, and ultimately become the kind of day-to-day application where users go to for their consumer as well as like corporate cards and that side of things. Just really try to outcompete TradFi for the first time. And it's awesome to have tools like you guys that make that possible. And we're going to keep building towards that future.
Very cool. Yeah, Nina, do you want to share about Enso, like recent releases or what's upcoming?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, first of all, I would just like to build upon what Slater said. I think, like as the space grows and matures, like there are bigger chunks that we can bite, and to be able to take those bites, we need to be more expressive in what our products do. So we need to have that kind of expressivity, and for that reason, I would say like Web3. I don't know if I would personally say it's shortcuts based, but I would definitely say it is necessary to improve that expression for developers. And I'll just do a short ramble, like that there's like a million ways to instruct a computer what to do. You can do that with a high level functional language or imperative, or you can talk to the to the CPU. Like if you want to build useful stuff, you don't want to be spending time talking to the CPU. You want, as a developer, to be really productive and uh, express, let's say, higher level intentions, what you want to show up on the screen, or what do you want, how, if you want for a user to feel a vibration, an interaction and stuff like that. So in that sense, I believe that Enso is um, um, an ingredient that actually helps improve that experience and make it accessible for the growing users. And in that sense, so coming back to developers and the upcoming releases, so the team has been working on something we call one stable, which was a logical step after doing adding all the bridging capabilities both to the route and to the bundle API. So this is putting it more in perspective of minting stablecoins cross-chain without needing to have a stablecoin contract on every single chain. So in a way, it sort of resolves this huge number of chains that we have to deal with. So it makes that part transparent or opaque for developers, and lets them just do the thing that user wants to get done. So pretty exciting. It's pretty much a release that started, and you'll be seeing much more of that.
Yeah, I think that was just released 2 days ago. Also, again, we're leveraging Stargate and Layer 0 tech for the bridging part. And then we've worked together with Reservoir, where the first integration is live. So we're going to have them on next week. So tune in again to learn more about that. I also just wanted to give a high-level overview of the future vision. So as you know, currently you have like 200 plus protocols accessible, and the team adds those. But in the long run, that's going to be opened up. So basically everyone can contribute, and Enso is going to expand into that full engine where you can just tap into when you get access to all of Web3. And it's not going to be limited to what the team already has added, but it's basically fully comprehensive, like the go-to toolkit for building in Web3. So I would say that's kind of the vision and what we're building towards, to, in the end, solve problems of DevX, UX, and basically build towards the same vision as Etherfi does, of like eating TradFi's lunch, I would say. All right, let's see. Do we have any questions from the audience? Just see here. Yeah, so one question is, for an everyday user, what's now one click that used to be several steps?
Probably take that. What we demoed earlier, if you have an asset on kind of any VM chain and it's not currently on Ethereum mainnet, where you typically access our liquid vaults, you can just select that asset and in one click do all the bridging and swapping to get over to your liquid vault of choice. So liquid USDC, liquid Bitcoin, and then send it over your cash vault, access real world spending power for it. Do that all in under a minute now. It used to probably take 5, 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on where it was originally. So super cool.
Yeah, I think that covered it pretty well. Another question we got was, how can other apps embed the same deposit to ETH from any chain widget? What's the minimum integration?
I believe that's one I can take. Probably the question popped up before I showed the widget. So essentially, let me
Too, yeah, some of them probably came before the demo and the whole demonstration part.
Yeah. The way to do that kind of integration, it can be as simple as installing an npm package into your React project and simply embedding a swap component that renders that UI that pretty much has everything. So the chain picker, the protocol picker, the token picker, and shows the route nicely in the end. And yeah, the minimum integration, well, it's pretty much, as I said, one command and one import, and of course using the component.
Yeah, so the next question we have is, which chains and assets are enabled at launch via the Enso integration, and how do you decide the next additions? I think that probably also refers to something like the upcoming Hyperliquid or Hype Vault. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. So this could be a question for both of us.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I can also answer part of it. So where it's currently live, the liquid vaults are ETH, BTC, then the market neutral USD, and for the pre-deposits for Hype, which we heard is going live pretty soon, if I got that right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, you got it. Look out for the Hype Vault very soon. Right now, you can stake Hype and get the LST. But yeah, through Liquid Wallet integrations, or you can use Enso to make it all a lot easier. BTC, USD, and ETH for now.
And then I think for in the widget, I don't think you limit it to any chains and assets. So it's probably all that we offer on the cross-chain widget.
Yeah, seems super comprehensive. For sure.
Yeah, actually, there is one convenience for builders, so you can actually specify the select set of chains that you're allowing in the widget. So there is customization around that and control for those who want more control there.
So yeah, I think the docs is probably the best place if people want to learn more about details on how to integrate the cross-chain widget. So you can just go to docs.enso that build. The last question is probably more geared towards later. I don't know if you were involved in the front-end process there, but it's how did you customize the cross-chain route widget for the Etherfi UX?
Oh no, not a development question. I'm just the marketing guy, man. I actually am not sure. I wish I had a better answer for this question, but I would imagine that we looked at probably what the most common routes are and common assets that people hold are, and if we had to do some filtering, we probably filtered to those at least to some extent. But you know, we have a really broad user base, so it also probably makes sense to have a pretty wide net there. Yeah, sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Yeah, I think that's good enough for us here. And I think also Nenad showed on the docs before, if you want to customize the look and feel, like to be in line with your branding, you can do that. So best place here would be docs again, if you're interested in details on that. All right, I think those were all questions for now. Yeah, it was a great session. Great to have you two on. Thanks for joining, Slater. Thanks for joining, Nenad. So yeah, as we already shown, the cross-chain deposits are live into the liquid vaults. So go to ether.fi/app/liquid if you want to check it out. Follow at ether_fi and at Enso Build on socials if you want to learn more about our latest releases or what's upcoming. And yeah, it was really great to have you on. Any last thoughts you guys want to share?
Oh, I think we covered everything, and I just really appreciate you guys putting on this this nice session. I think it's a really good format and platform. So thanks for having me, and super excited to have our users be able to use Enso to make stuff easier.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, from my side as well. Thanks for joining.